As I mentioned in the last part, when you draw with the pen tool, you can eventually use this shape to do certain things, such as filling it in with a color or even turning it into a selection. Now, before we jump in and add some points and learn how to use these tools here, what I want to do is show you how you can take this curve and change it into something. I'm going to go to my layers panel, and I want to show you that attached to it, typically, is the channels and the paths. This is the one we want, paths. So if you don't see this one, go to the window menu and choose it from the list here. Along the bottom of this panel, you see we have some icons. This guy right here will fill in the path with the foreground color. So if I change this color to green, I can click on this button here, and that path will then be filled in with this color. I'll undo that now. The next one will stroke the path with the brush. So what I could do is click here, and now we see that it's green around the outline. The next one will convert it into a selection. So now we can use it as a mask. We can paint inside of it. We can even go to select inverse and change it so we're painting somewhere else. So it's really handy when you want to create custom shapes such as a character's arm, turn it into a selection, and then fill it with a color, and use the dodge and burn tools or the airbrush to give it some depth by changing like the shadows and the highlights. Last but not least, we can also take this and turn it into what's known as a work path. You click on this button right here. This is really useful for people who are using some kind of desktop publishing application such as InDesign or QuarkXPress. This allows you to pretty much mask off a portion of your image, and when you save this as an EPS and bring it into another application, that area will be clipped and only the inside will be visible, as you can see here. Alright, let's go ahead now, and I'm going to undo this a couple times to go back to my regular path here. Once again, these are called points, also known as anchor points. We can use the tools that are inside the pen tool to change how we work with this. So let's say I want to add more points. I'll use the Add Anchor Point tool. And when I put my mouse along the edge of the path, I see a little plus symbol. I can click, and there we go. We've added some points. Likewise, I can also delete an anchor point. The secret to using the pen tool is not to have a billion points. You really want to use the least amount to achieve the goal. So if you're trying to create a smile, you would just probably have one here, and you pull to get that smile. You don't want to click, 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 and have 65,000 points to create that smile. It can often cause PostScript errors with your printer. We can also use the Convert Point tool. This is really handy when you want to change the way a point works. For example, this is considered a smooth point because it's a curve. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'll grab this Convert tool. If I click on that point, it is now a corner. And if I click again and I drag, I now have my curve back. Once again, click, click, and I have corners. Click, hold the mouse down, drag, click, hold the mouse, drag, and have my curves back. It's pretty fun to play with. Last but not least, I want to talk about these guys here. Path Selection tool, which allows me to click on the whole path and move it as a whole. And the Direct Selection tool, the same white arrow that you'll find inside of Illustrator. This tool allows you to click directly on the path. Let me go ahead and first of all deselect and click on the edge, and now each point can be clicked on one at a time and manipulated. I can also drag select to grab more than one point to change the shape. So hopefully with a little practice and a little patience, you'll soon come to master these tools and create some very complicated artwork inside of Photoshop.